Hello students, today we will start a new chapter of class 9, that is force and law of motions. In the previous chapter we already know what is motion and what are the different type of motions, and we come to know some equation of motions, and also we proved that equation also. In this chapter we come to know about the force and law of motion. In the previous chapter we come to know the equation of motion. In this chapter we come to know about some law of motions and force. Okay, so at first we can divide the different type of force into two categories. First one is balanced force. First one is balanced force and second one is unbalanced force. Okay, the first one is balanced force and second one is unbalanced force. Now we have to know what is balanced force and what is unbalanced force. You get some idea about the name, from the name, that what is balanced. Balance means when the net thing is zero, then we call it balanced. That's mean we get an idea from the name that what will be the balanced force. Suppose a object is kept here. If same amount of force is acting in the opposite direction, this one is also F, this one is also F, then what will happen? The object will remain its rest position. Neither it goes towards right nor towards left. This type of force, the net force, that means the net force acting on this point, suppose this is A point, on this point is 0. Okay, this type of balance are called balanced force. Maybe there is more than two force. Suppose there is also force F1 and another same amount of force F1 is acting on the downward direction. That means the amount of force is same but the directions are opposite. Then the net force along y-axis also 0. If we take it x-axis and take it y-axis, then the net force acting x-axis and net force acting y-axis both are 0. So when the net force acting on a point is 0, then we call that balanced force. Okay, and what is unbalanced force? When the net force acting on a body is not 0, that is called unbalanced force. Suppose there is also an object, a force acting on the right side, that is F1, and another force F2 is acting towards left direction. If F1 greater than F2, what will happen? If F1 greater than F2, then object will start to move towards the right direction. Now, if F2 greater than F1, then what will happen? The object will start to left directions. That means when the two forces are not equal, on that time we get emotions. That means the net force not equal to 0. That's why it get a motion, and this type of force is called unbalanced force. Okay, so when the net force acting on a body is 0, then we call it balanced force. When the net force acting on a point is not 0, then we say it unbalanced force. The balanced force cannot be the responsible for the change of state, but unbalanced force is the responsible for the change of motion. This is the main difference. Okay, now we have to know three laws about the force, Newton's most popular three law: first law, second law, and third law. Okay, today we will discuss only the first law, and the next class we will discuss about the second and third law. Okay, and in this law we have to know the concept of balanced force and unbalanced force. Okay, first is first law of motion or Newton's first law. First law of motion means Newton's first law. What is Newton's first law said? Newton's first law said that if there is no unbalanced force acting on a body, the body will remain its state of motion. That means the rest object will be at rest position and moving object will be moved in same direction with same velocity. Okay, suppose a object, two types of object are here. Suppose this is object A, its velocity is 0, that means it is at rest position, and there is also another object, that is B object, it is moved with velocity V. Okay, here velocity is 0, that means rest position, it moves with velocity V, suppose towards the right direction. Newton's first law says that if we not apply any unbalanced force, if we not apply any unbalanced force in these two objects, this object will remain at rest and this object will goes through the same direction with same velocity. Okay, why unbalanced force? If we apply a balanced force here, what will be the result? The object will be at rest. If we apply a balanced force here also, then we have no change of state. That's why we have to say, if we not apply any unbalanced force on the body, then the object will remain its state of motion. That is, rest particle will be remain at rest position and moving particle will move with same velocity and same direction. I think it's clear. Now, what we get from the first law of motion? First thing we get that if you not apply any unbalanced force, then there will be no change of motion. If we apply the unbalanced force, what will happen? The first question is, the first law says that if you not apply the unbalanced force, the repeated question comes, that if we apply the unbalanced force, what will happen? Now, so if we apply an unbalanced force, then it may be changed. There may be a change of state of motion. Suppose it is rest position. If you apply a force towards right direction, and F is enough to move the particle, move the object, then it will start to move towards right direction. Okay, and if we apply a force F in the opposite direction of the movement, and F is enough to stop the particle or the object, then the object will be stopped. That means rest particle start to move and moving particle comes to at rest position. That means there is a change in state of motion. That means we come to a definition that the phenomena which able to change the state of motion, we can say it force. Now that means we get an idea of force, but from this first law we don't get the unit of force. Unit of force हम लोगों को नहीं मिला. We don't get the unit of force from the first law of motion. We get only the idea of force. Sorry, we don't get the unit of force. We get only the idea of force. Okay, this is the first thing. And second thing we get also, that is inertia. That is inertia. What is inertia? Inertia is the tendency of a body to remain to state of motions. The inertia of a body is the tendency to remain its state of motion. Means the inertia of a rest particle. What will be the inertia of rest particle? The inertia of rest particle will be to remain the rest position of the particle. That means it's always try to remain its rest position. Okay, this is called inertia of rest. Inertia of rest. Okay, and moving object always there will be tendency of the moving object to remain its moving state. That means with same velocity and same direction. It is called inertia of motion. Inertia of motion. Okay, I think it's clear. The inertia of rest means when an object try to remain its rest state, then it's called inertia of rest. When a moving object wants to remain its moving state, then it's called inertia of motion. There is also another type of inertia. It's called inertia of position. This is also inertia of position. Maybe it is not in our syllabus, but you have to know that what is inertia of position. Inertia of position. If you take a spring, if you give some amount of force, it will change its position, but shape. If we release the force, it will come to its initial shape. This type of inertia is called inertia of position. That means object always stay its own position. It is called inertia of position. But in our syllabus, you have to know only two: inertia of rest and inertia of motion. Okay. The second thing is, this is the in which quantity or in which phenomena inertia depend. Suppose a 1 kg amount of object is there and another one is 100,000 kg. This to have same amount of inertia? No. Actually, inertia is directly proportional to the mass. The heavy object have much amount of inertia and light object has less amount of inertia. That means we need much amount of unbalanced force to move a rest particle when the mass of the particle is heavy. That means higher order. That means suppose we take an example. This is a 1 kg object and there is 100 kg object. There is two objects. So we have to give much amount of force here then 2. That means F1 greater than F2. For a heavy object, we have to give much amount of force to change its state of motion. Same thing is for the moving object also. For a loaded truck, for a moving loaded truck, to stop a moving loaded truck, we have to give much amount of force than a empty truck. Okay, that means in inertia of motions also it is depends on the mass. The object which has higher amount of mass has higher amount of inertia. Okay, so this is the first law of motions. So from the first law of motion we get the idea of force and inertia. Inertia are divided into two parts. One is inertia of rest and inertia of motion. Inertia of rest and inertia of motion, and inertia is directly proportional to the mass of the object. Okay, and at the initial we divide the force into two parts. First one is balanced force and second one is unbalanced force. Balanced force means when the net force acting on an object is 0, then it is called balanced force, and when the Net force acting on a point is not zero, but is called unbalanced force. Okay, I think the whole concept is clear. Okay, in the next class we will discuss about the second law and third law of motion. Okay.